All right. So we're going to stick with proportions a moment and talk about properties of proportions. Usually you start with a proportion that is given. So that one would be, we'd assume that to be true. But there's some other things that we know can happen as long as this is true. So it's kind of like an if-then situation. So if this is a true proportion, then we have some other properties that work. Okay, the first one is one that you use quite a bit. This one is actually the cross product property. So this is a special one. You've used this before. So the cross products are saying if I multiply A times D, it should be equal to B times C. Occasionally in geometry, I have people that do the cross products and then they throw them back in a fraction and then they don't know what to do with it. They lose their equal sign, okay? It has to be an equation because you have to be able to continue on and solve it. Or we use the cross products sometimes to check proportions and see if they're accurate, okay? But if you check the cross products, they should be equal if the proportion is good, okay? So this one specifically is the cross product property. But we have three other ones. And with most of these, you're just going to be completing the equation. So if you look over here, the first one I flipped B and A. So what do you suppose that should be equal to if this is true? D over C. I would just flip the other fraction. These aren't terribly difficult, but I feel sometimes like people forget to go back to the original proportion. So they're just looking at this going, well, I don't know what B over A is. It depends on what you started with. Okay. Along the same lines, we have another one that works. If I do A over C, what would you expect the other half of the proportion to be? Yeah, left over right, left over right. So top left, top right. So it'd be B over D. And if you look, if you check those cross products, we're still getting BC and AD. BC, AD. So the cross products are still the same. And I think one of the reasons they have you actually go through these steps is you might see two triangles and set up a proportion little side to little base, big side to big base. I might set it up little side to big side, little base to big base. Okay, those are both accurate proportions. We would both still get the same cross products. But if you do yours differently and you get the same answer, it's because there are several forms that are correct. Okay, now the fourth one, which sometimes is an issue for people, is, okay, if you look at this one here, they will take and add the denominator to the numerator. It's still over the denominator. Well, then on the other fraction, it should be the same thing. Seems strange that it would work out, but it does. And just so you're not confused in the homework, variations of this would work also. For instance, if instead I put B over A plus B, then on the other side I could have D over C plus D, because my cross products would still work. Okay, so this one they could flip. All right, so So an example, so you know how it's going to work when you do the actual homework. If m over 4 equals n over 11, okay, you're going to be completing the statement. Okay, so there are two of these. So if m over 4 is n over 11, then I would expect m over n to be equal to what? Okay, so here's my original one. This is the one you want to refer back to. So if I change this and instead have m over n, then the other half should be 4 over 11. Again, we're doing top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So 4 over 11. So you would just be completing the statement based on what they give you. How about this one? N over n. Okay, and again, you'll notice my cross products, all three are the same. The only one that's kind of hard to check that with would be one of these, okay, unless you actually have numbers for those. But if you do multiply the means and extremes, these and those, and simplify it, you do get that. I tried it once. I'm like, I don't know, does that really work? It does. All right, so those are the properties. We have one more, two more ideas, and then we'll do just a couple more examples.